Yo, Saf back once again. Thank you all for tuning in to the Talk and Play Blurredcast. Appreciate you for being here. If you read the title, then you know what's about to happen. It's insecure time. We are on season 5, episode 3. I think the title was Pressure Okay. Lot of pressure. We see Lawrence and Condola going through it over Baby Ja. So I was writing up the review, like writing up my particular notes and outline for the review. And I thought about it. I just kind of want to have a conversation. Like, what side are y'all on? Do y'all fuck with Condola and what she had going on? Or y'all more Team Lawrence again? Like, y'all on Team Lawrence side about this? I'm going to play my theme music or intro music, I should say. And then, we're going to get into it. I'm going to still, cover some key points of the episode, but I really just want to explain why I feel the way I feel about it and then see if we can have some kind of discourse, some kind of dialogue about it because Twitter is talking and they got a lot to say. So let me play my intro music and then we end up. Yeah, so like, what side are y'all on? Like, or are y'all like me and y'all in the middle when it comes to the whole situation, right? Well, let's do it a little bit more structured, I guess. So Insecure is beautifully shot. There's always amazing cinematography, and the music is always on point. We start the episode off because this episode in particular focuses on Lawrence, and we pick up right where Issa left my dog on the curb. Like, yeah, I'm going inside, but you're not because I ain't really feeling the whole situation. So you go do you, I'm gonna do me. Thanks for the ride from the airport. In that scene, the song is playing. It is titled What's the Use by an artist named Nick Hakim and Josh Levy. I tried to find the song actually like on Spotify and stuff, but apparently, I don't know, either it's not out yet or I don't know what's going on, why it's not on Spotify, but it's not there. And Shazam is not giving me anything else other than open it on Spotify, but it's not there. Dope song though, it fits the scene. But when that shit transitions to the next song, that shit start knocking. And it's actually a different song, Snoring by an artist named Drew Love and Low Shendrix. One of those names. But can't find that shit on Spotify either. I don't know. I know Issa has her own like music label situation going on. So maybe this will be like a final release once the entire episodes or the entire season finishes and then they release like the official soundtrack for the entire season. But from my knowledge, they was updating the shit as the episodes came out. But I can't find these two songs. Either way, the shit was hard. Perfect. For the scenery, we go from Lawrence being sad, broke up, face drop, egg on his face, like just fucked up from the whole situation of driving Issa from the airport just to get dumped on the side of the curb in front of her apartment. We transition from that and the sadness of the first song to this turned up shit, which is Lawrence like looking around, you're like, you know what? She left me. It is what it is. I'm still a nigga. I need to go out here and do nigga shit. And that's what Lawrence proceeded to do. But let's be clear, right? Like, nigga shit for Lawrence, as we'll find or see later in the episode, is definitely get money fucking hoes. You know what I'm saying? Be it in the streets. But in this particular scene, it's actually like holding your head high. And being, when I saw him walk down the street with that extended ass neck, head up, I'm like, yeah, my dog, he in savage mode right now. He just got his heart broke. He finna go to work, kill it at the job, and then turn up in the streets. And As y'all saw, he did just that. He picked up a new project at the job, which I was like, okay, because smart clothes. It's inevitable, right? But the white man who make all the decisions was like, this is another one out of a bunch. Like, are we serious about this? Because it seemed like this might be the way. People keep coming in here pitching smart clothes to us. Do we want to do it? Lawrence took it on like a champ. Good job for him, because at least he's in San Francisco working. He left when Condola told him that he had the baby. Obviously, he had the job lined up already. He didn't want to be a father in the first place, so he felt like it was more important to go ahead and take this job or whatever. So I'm glad to see that he actually like working and being successful and thriving abundantly, limitless, in Kelly voice, my Kelly voice. But he's also, like I said, savage mode. We out here, we in the streets. Date with some lady that's calling him stupid and cute at the same time. He's taking it. Obviously, he ain't really been in the position to date, so I can see why he fucking up on this date. But luckily, he out with a lady that's like, you know what? It's free food, and I'm straight on you. You're not bad to look at, even though you kind of not making sense. She going along with it. I appreciate women like that. Like, it's not the easiest to just meet people and date and be charismatic and all that kind of shit like that. So when you first getting to know somebody, I can always appreciate when they like, you fucking this up. Like, you sound crazy right now. But first date jitters and all that shit. And then on top of that, you cute. So I'm going to let you rock and hopefully you don't completely turn me off. That date, though, was interrupted, as we saw, my Lawrence finding out via iMessage that Condola just had the baby. So, he had to be a fuck nigga in that moment and just be like, hey, so my baby mama just dropped my very first child and I kind of got to slide. But I'm going to pay for everything. This should be enough to cover it. Appreciate you for coming out. But I got to go to the hospital and see my little dog. I actually appreciated that about Lawrence. Like, I know based on the way he left things in season 4 that it was kind of looking like he was just going to fuck nigga all the way out and just focus on trying to get Issa back and just leave Condola to be with the baby by herself. But I guess now that things looking like Issa's out of the question, he's reconsidered and like he's like, oh yeah, my baby just got born. My baby was just born. Like, let me hop on the flight and go do what I need to do. I fuck with Lawrence for that. He a stand-up nigga in his own, right. Much like the average nigga. Like, we not all out here being baby futures and shit. Like, some of us are more in the Drake mode where, we gonna be savages when we want to be, but then we got feelings and we like kind of respect women like a lot more than rap and entertainment tell us we should. So it's kind of like, let me be the noble guy and I respect that. Side note, Insecure has a really good, like I said, cinematography like team, I guess, or person. Like, they shoot things really good. Every time they're showing food, like, they get these incredible like over the head shots or over the plate shots or whatever. They just make the shit look phenomenal. I just wanted to shout that out because I might be hungry right now. But the food looked good the way they was presenting it. So shout out to the cameraman and the director and whoever else was involved with making sure that they shoot and spotlight like food and scenery and landmarks within the city or whatever. Like, shoot that shit and show it in a very, very like beautiful and artistic yet like majestic way. I fuck with shit like that. You remember, this is an audio visual / music major here, so small shit like that, I'm in it. Anyway, Lawrence get to the hospital and we're greeted with Condola's mother, who not only are we seeing for the first time, but Lawrence is also seeing for the first time. Her mom and then her sister Kyra, that is played by the incredible Keke Palmer. I was so hyped to see her guest starring in this role. Same way I was hyped to see Kyla Pratt guest star, last season or the season before that? She always got some like guest stars that come along in these episodes and help push the story forward that are really dope. Keke Palmer is one of them. She had a lot to say about Condola at the end of season 4 on Twitter. So it's kind of ironic, or not ironic, but it's funny that she is here playing Condola's sister and having to take up for her and be on her side this entire episode, because Keke Palmer in real life via Twitter was not fucking with the Condola situation at all. So, oh no, this is dope. I appreciate reaching out to these black actresses and actors who favor the show and giving them opportunity to like be a part of it. That's dope, especially because this season 5, this is about to be the end. Like, shit, let's go out. HBO, I know they done gave Issa the budget. Like, bring everybody in. I want to see niggas on TV, like the ones that I know are phenomenal actors and actresses. Keke Palmer's on here. They had Wendy Raquel last season playing Issa's mom. Like, that shit was perfect. Like, more of that. But yeah, Lawrence is at the hospital and he's like, excited to, see the baby. Mom is doing her best to be excited and embrace meeting this young man for the very first time. Keke Palmer's character, Kyra, on the other hand, she ain't fucking with Lawrence. Talking about that's why the baby looked like that and everything. Like, I could tell from then, I knew from that second, like, she was about to give him hell the whole episode, and she didn't let me down. But that scene kind of ends with Lawrence holding the baby and like having that moment where everything quote unquote clicks and he really wants to be a dad. So I knew right then, like, okay, we about to really see what time it is, because the way Condola was looking when he showed up, like, you could tell she had no intention on this nigga stepping up to the plate and actually being a dad. She was ready to raise this baby on her own. And I commend her for that, because she told that nigga that at the end of season 4. She was like, listen, you don't want to be a part or whatever, that's your business. I'm just letting you know because it's the right thing to do. But I'm keeping my baby, and it is what it is. You can be a dad or you can not. So I commend her for sticking to that and not being one of those women that's like, I'm going to do this shit by myself. And then when the baby get here, you like, you need to be a father and step up, like, you can let me out here raising this shit by myself. Condola, throughout this entire episode, I never got the energy from her that she was like, oh, I need this nigga's help. It was always like, I'm making a way without you because you said you didn't want to be here. So you coming at me like this is shocking and off-putting. And of course, I don't know how to handle it because you haven't been here. So I thought that was what the situation was going to be. And I was okay with that. But now you're here trying to be a dad. Like I said, I'm in the middle, but we'll get there. Let's continue. The scene after that where Lawrence and Chad are having a like God moment. Chad's a fuck nigga. Like, he's the bad friend in the situation. He's being there as a friend, giving advice, but the advice is not, it's not A1. If I'm being honest, I fuck with Chad. The man is funny as fuck. The Mufasa shit that he was fucking with Lawrence about, like, that shit was funny. But if we being real, like, given all that we know about Lawrence and Condola and the whole situation, him being in San Francisco this entire time while Condola was pregnant or whatever, really giving her the impression like, oh, this nigga really don't want to be here, so I'm gonna do this shit on my own. Like, I could tell you, I could be honest and real about this shit. Chad's advice was not good. But I appreciate Chad for being a friend. Like, he was trying to keep my dog uplifted, gave him a place to crash. Because remember, Lawrence lives in San Francisco. Everybody else is back in LA. So this whole scene in the moment right now, we seeing, oh, I'm spending the night at your house while I try to be the beginning steps of a new father. Now I understand why Lawrence was a little salty about the last name thing. Like, that's a big deal or whatever, I guess. Like, I personally don't want kids or whatever, but I know, like, especially my dogs, my male friends that have kids or whatever, they was adamant, like, my kids gotta have my last name. It's something in the black community where they feel like it is owed to the father or respected to the father, or just how it should be. Like, if you have a kid, the baby's supposed to take the last name of the guy. And that's not necessarily a black thing. Well, I notice, like, black people tend to turn up a little bit more about that. Like, my child better have my motherfucking last name or whatever. But as we can see in this situation, like, nigga, it was a favor if she did that, because you wasn't there the whole pregnancy, bitch. So if she popped the baby out and decided to give it their last name, nigga, like, what are you gonna do other than be like, okay, well, I wanted it to have my last name. But I just thought that was interesting, because I don't feel like, even though I understand why men be like really turned up about the whole last name situation, I don't feel like it's something that's owed to them. Like, you were not with Condola every day or even once a week like you trying to be for the newborn. You wasn't even there once a week for her, calling and checking up on her, making sure ultrasound appointments went good, making sure the baby was not dying in her stomach. Like, you was not being active in the parenting role even before the baby got here, when the baby was cooking, for you to be like, he better have my last name. Because when did you decide you wanted to be a parent? Was it after you got the text message, or was it after Issa was like, we not happening? Like, because you didn't tell Condola you want to do the shit until now. So of course, if she's like, well, this nigga's not going to be here, he does not want to be here, he's proven that he's not going to be here, what's the point of giving you, or what's the point of giving the baby his last name? That's all I'm saying. The scene at the doctor's office had a touch of comedy to it. I don't know what the fuck going on with this crazy ass doctor man calling other people babies ugly. I guess it was his way of trying to get them to calm their new parent jitters down or whatever, because they was freaking out that the baby had lost a little weight. Nah, he called him a long baby. I thought that was shade. I did. I thought he was trying to be funny right now. Why you calling my baby long? But I guess not. They didn't take it as that. They was like, what's up with the milk? Why we ain't the same weight or getting bigger, X, Y, and Z. But in that scene though, I could tell, like, there's definitely some concern there from Lawrence. Like, he want to be a dad. I could see that. Ever since, oh yeah, hey little man, holding him in his hand and shit, he been like trying to step up. But as we'll discuss later on, like, is it enough? Now, the scene in the parking garage where they were talking about, the baby's doctor schedule and shit like that, like, at the end of that scene, when Lawrence was like, of course I'm down with coming, because he offered, he was like, listen, I really want to be in the child's life. Can I come down once a week? And she was like, you really want to do that? And he was like, of course, I ain't just gonna not be there. When he said that, right, Condola looked like, okay, well, I wasn't expecting you to want to be a part, but I'm cool with it if that's what you saying you want to do. I never took that as like, oh nah, she ain't down for it, she want to keep the baby to herself. Nor did I take it as like, oh yeah, she's happy and excited for this nigga to like step up and be a dad. It genuinely felt like to me, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but if you want to make it work, I ain't gonna tell you no. Like, we'll figure something out. But in that moment, there should have been, to me anyway, Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. We could talk about this. Twitter, BrianSapph. It's Brian Saff. In this moment, I felt like Condola should have initiated some kind of conversation, like, explaining how things would work moving forward with Lawrence, basically telling her I want to co-parent with you in some kind of capacity, because maybe that, argument towards the end of the episode wouldn't have happened. Because I just feel like once Lawrence made it clear that he was trying to be in the baby's life, Condola should have paused for a second and been like, okay, so now I have to readjust my expectations. I thought I was going to be doing this shit as a single mom and this nigga was going to be nowhere to be found, but he's saying he want to be a part. So let me tell him what that looks like, because I don't think Lawrence understood. I mean, you could tell this man, he a new father and all this shit. Like, he don't understand what the fuck it goes, what goes into raising a child the day in, the day out. He asking about the baby's schedule, but if you was like there daily, every day, like Condola is, then you would just know that. And I don't even think like he realized that in the moments of speaking to her about trying to come up with a good co-parenting like schedule, that the schedule will be a lot more easy if you was more available. It's not necessarily nothing wrong with Condola. She is where they had the baby at. She don't need to move to San Francisco to get this nigga a better opportunity to be a father. Like, she has a life. He made it clear in season 4 he wasn't fucking with being a father, and she moved forward. So now that he's coming back, I feel like he needs to acclimate into her life and kind of readjust and figure out a way to come to a happy medium about the situation, instead of just being mad at her for not acknowledging how hard he feels like he's trying, because I feel like he ain't trying hard enough. But you know what? Let's continue the episode, and then we'll have a big conversation about that towards the end. But I will say, like, him him talking to her about the shit and trying to come up with a co-parenting like schedule that works for both of them or whatever, like, that to me is commendable, just given the fact that he's trying given the circumstances. And she agreed to it because she said, okay, we'll figure it out. And this nigga said okay as well. So I know, like I said just a few minutes ago, they should have had a conversation about it. I do feel like this part of the miscommunication was not necessarily either one of their faults, because they both new parents. The whole co-parenting thing is new to both of them. So Condola, being okay with whatever he's suggesting because he's just simply trying, it makes sense to me. And him feeling, Lawrence feeling like him making these, strides to be in the child's life, flying down every week or whatever, like, if he felt like that was, good and the best he could do or whatever, I can understand, because new parents. So these motherfuckers don't really know what the fuck going on like that. All Condola knows, she with the baby day in and day out. That shit's stressful. All he know is he has a life in San Francisco. He trying to keep that up. It's a great opportunity, his dream job. He making money, doing good, but then he still want to be a father. So he's trying to figure out how to fit that flying back and forth every week, into everything. But we go over to this scene where Lawrence is building a fucking baby crib in his apartment. On My Shit by Phony People featuring Joey Badass is playing. Not today, put a disclaimer out 'cause I'm on my shit tonight. And this is how I knew, just by that music right there, just by Phony People coming on with On My Shit. And this is when I knew for certain, like, oh, this nigga really think he's doing the father thing. Like, good. He done built the crib. Like, I don't know if the baby will be able to fit in that motherfucker by the time Condola lets you bring him to San Francisco. But I guess it's the thought that counts. Like, he tried to do something that would be accommodating for his child should the child get on the flight during the time where he is still a newborn and able to fit in that crib and be with Lawrence. This scene was funny to me just off of that. Like, when the baby gonna come stay with you, bruh? Like, when? Did you speak to Condola about this? Like, because y'all just figured out once a week I'm gonna fly down. So what the fuck you building the crib for? She didn't say once a week the baby was gonna fly up with you and you was gonna drive, or she was gonna drive the baby up to you. Y'all just agreed once a week you gonna fly down, see the baby. Why are you building a crib at your house? I thought for a second, he building a crib and he gonna ship it down to Condola, but he left this shit right by the kitchen at the end of the scene, and it just kind of made me laugh out loud because that didn't make sense to me. The baby christening scene was wild. Like, people was coming up to Lawrence, like, or whatever, his uncle or whatever, whoever that was, like, you're being such a good dad. It's good to see black dads and in the house. And I'm just like, this nigga's not in the house though. Like, he just figured out a schedule that might work for him with this flying back and forth once a week. Like, still got a lot more daddy duty to do. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate this nigga just acknowledging the fact that Lawrence is trying in some capacity. And I had thought about it after the episode wrap. His mom was kind of like tripping a little bit. Like, in the moment, I was like, okay, I can see, she being a grandparent or whatever. But also, I thought about it after the episode wrapped. I'm like, bro, did she realize her son only be around the baby like once a week for a few hours? Like, he fly in from San Francisco to spend the day with his newborn, then he goes back for like a week. If he ain't got to cancel, like, why would Condola not make all of the plans and the arrangements when the goddamn baby be with her all of the time? Like, what you want me to do? I have this thing happening for the baby in LA at this time on this day. Do you think that's a good idea where you at in San Francisco? Like, with you being all the way in San Francisco, do you think it's a good idea for me to make this appointment for the baby on a day that you're not even going to be in town to do anything? Like, that don't make sense. Like, if I'm taking care of the baby day in and day out, and you come in once a week or whatever for your time or whatever, what happens on the rest of them 6 days is my decision. Because even if you don't agree with me doing something with the baby, what you gonna do? You gonna drop everything that you're doing and fly in early just to tell me, no, I cannot? By the time you do that, I'll be done it 3 times. Like, what you talking about? So that instant right there, I was like, oh yeah, mom was tripping. And she's not focused on the fact that her son needs to do better. She kind of focused on the fact that Condola is in charge. And as a woman, I would assume that it would be the other way around. Like, nigga, all you do is get evites from this girl about important events in your son's life. Like, you need to do better. But instead, she like, nah, she doing it wrong. We're going to take the baby to our church or whatever. Like, they need to establish like a real co-parenting structure before the parents even look at putting their 2 cents in. Either that, or they need to be on Lawrence's ass about making sure he's in the child life so they can see their grandbaby. That's just me though. Remember, I said this is going to be a conversation, so I'm giving y'all my 2 cents. But the whole christening scene was interesting to say the least. Like, 1, because of the whole mom situation, and then 2, like, this uncle, he's wild. He's gonna get somebody's kid like killed, and that's not okay. The part though where Lawrence is talking to Condola and Kyra and the other woman that's standing there. I think that was her mom. But he's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? What's up with the baby? And he's like, oh, yeah, he's, tired. And Lawrence is like, oh, yeah, a nap would sound so good right now. Keke Palmer talking about, oh, yeah, I bet you just so tired. Like, that shit was funny. And his face after she said it, that's what took me out. She said that shit, I was already rolling. But then when the camera went back to motherfucking Lawrence, his face was like cracked now. That shit was so funny. Then the uncle bringing his motherfucking ass up, didn't make it no better. Talking about throwing the shit, the babies in the deep end so they can learn how to swim. That's what I'm saying. He gonna get somebody baby killed. That's crazy. But I understand why Lawrence is trying to have a conversation with Condola about establishing more time with the baby, talking about holidays and stuff, because in the fucking car garage when we was like, oh yeah, once a week, we'll figure that out. She said, okay, and we'll figure it out. So he's trying to figure it out. This is a bad time. Like, I would definitely would have talked to Condola, on my own privately, not in front of, family and friends at this christening. But I get why he was like into it. Like, oh yeah, let me talk to her about trying to get holidays situated and stuff like that so my side could have time and shit like that. This was just the wrong time. But it was his parents' fault, if you asking me. Because mom was sitting over there like, oh, you done gave up on your baby's rights or whatever just because she, controls everything and sends Eve. Like, that conversation probably kicked Lawrence a little bit. Like, damn, you know what? I do need to be a little bit more aggressive with trying to, have my son when I want him outside of just the week that we just, or the 1 day a week that we just agreed upon. But when Lawrence suggested, like, oh yeah, maybe our people can get together again sometime, and then I could take them, so my side could get them, for like a week or whatever. And Condola was like, a week? That's like a year. When he was like, it's actually like a week. I was like, yeah, I was definitely 100% on his side with that now. Like, we just decided we was going to work on it. That was how the conversation ended in the garage. I'm going to get him, or I'm going to come down for a week or whatever, spend time with him. Condola said, okay, let's figure it out. He's trying to figure it out. Like, again, bad timing, but he's trying. Him being like, it's only a week. I was like, yeah, nigga, like, it's only a week. You done had the baby all this time. Like, 1 week should be fine. That's approaching the holidays. I ain't talking about today. I'm just saying down the line, after my one visit a week has gone good enough for you to feel comfortable letting me get him for a full week. And she was just like not receptive in that moment. And I was like, did she hear what he said? Like, he was talking about in the future, not like right now today. Like, what's going on with that? But like I said, she done had the baby this whole time. So of course she's like, this is my child and you're just trying to play father. I've been mother from the jump and you're trying to get into this. You just now deciding you want to be here. So no, I'm not just going to let you ride off for a week with my baby because nigga, like, where was this energy during the third trimester, nigga, when I needed you every day of the week, taking me to and from appointments or whatever the case might be. So I get why that situation was like fucked up for both of them. Like I said, I'm in the middle. This is part of the reason. But yeah, the uncle saying what the fuck he talking about, throwing the baby in the water to test out if he got floater feet or whatever. The way they looked at him, I was like, yeah, nigga, because of what the fuck are you talking about? And then Lauren's like, man, come over here. Let me talk to you for a second. He talking about, you need another $5? Like, bro, what? Who is this uncle? But thank y'all for putting them in because funny. But then, right, in the next scene where Lawrence is, wrapping up, I guess, a Zoom meeting or whatever, something for work, like, he got the notification that he set that he has a flight to go down to see the baby. He look up, the suitcase is right there. So like he finished work on time. All he had to do, maybe freshen up a little bit, and make his flight because the suitcase was already packed. But he chose to text Condola and be like, sorry, can't make it. The work's been crazy. And even though I respect the heads up on Lawrence's part, I'm looking at you, nigga, like you could have fucking made that if you wanted to. Like you got finished with that call right on time for your phone to be like, remember, you got a flight. You already packed your bags. Like you just wasn't feeling like doing that in the moment. And that's okay because that's a real thing. Like no parent is going to want to feel like being a parent all the time. But on the flip side, like nigga, you asked her for this arrangement and you are saying, oh, you want to take the baby for a week and all this other stuff. Like this is not the time for you to be missing the arrangement you set up with her just because, you had a long Zoom meeting and you don't feel like rushing down to the airport to make the flight that you already paid for. At this point, if you got notifications on your phone coming up, your bag is already packed and shit, like you had every intention of going, so you should have just went. But see, this the thing. This is why Keke Palmer carried us Kyra. I'm gonna call her Kyra now. This is why Kyra was tripping. Like this nigga just pop in and pop out whenever he want to. I can't teach the baby how to sea walk by myself. I mean, I can, but it's supposed to be dad's day. So like, what the fuck going on? I get it. I see why Condola continues with her hesitancy because he's saying one thing and then he doing something else. Now, is this the case every time? I can't say that because we done seen them in scenes together with Lawrence and the baby. So he trying. Of course, you can't expect him to make every single trip every time that he's planned to come down to the baby. Of course, you can't expect him to always be able to do it. But like I said, this particular time, newborn, and you trying your best to show your baby mama that you interested in being in the kid's life, it's not the time to be missing out and like not trying to at least reschedule. He just said, I can't make it down. I would have been like, work was crazy, but I'm going to take off tomorrow and come down if that's cool or whatever. He just was like, this week ain't going to happen, so I'm going to catch you next week. And that is kind of not okay. But yeah, Lawrence got up in the next scene and finally finished the baby crib or whatever. And I'm still thinking like, after you just missed your 1 day a week and your baby mama and her sister had to give up their spa massages together, I don't think Baby Jai is gonna ever see that crib, the inside of it, the outside of it. We'd be lucky if he see the inside of your apartment because at this point, y'all are trying to build trust and faith in each other, and Condola need that more than you do because she got the baby. So wishful thinking, my nigga, but it ain't looking like it's supposed to happen the way you thought it was. What I appreciated about this scene though was Condola texting him about, Simone's invite, Derek and Tiffany's baby. They throwing her birthday party. She's turning 1. And I guess Derek invited Lawrence and Tiffany invited Condola. So she wants to know if, they should just go together and, look as a unit. Now, on one hand, this was like, oh, okay. So maybe Condola is interested in having Lawrence, as not only a dad, but like a partner too. And I'm saying that because in the scene with Kyra, like Condola was reluctant to tell her that Lawrence was canceling on them. She made up an excuse. That nigga didn't say he had to work. He said work's been crazy. Like he ain't going into detail as to why he can't make it down there. She, put up some bullshit little lie for him though. And when Kyra was like being shady, calling him Ashy Larry and talking about he's an uncle and he pop in and pop out whenever he want to. Like, she kind of just stood there and took it instead of being like, yeah, that he is a fuck nigga, whatever. She was just like, I let my sister get her shit off and then I'm gonna focus on my baby. So her reaching out in this moment, trying to like see if they should pull up together, I was like, okay, maybe Condola is in the headspace now where she's like, I wouldn't mind if me and this nigga like tried to be a family or whatever. Like, I do need help with the baby and he's trying to be attentive, and they didn't really end on bad terms. It was more like he was a rebound while also trying to connect with her on a real level because he actually liked her and was trying to build something with her, and she just wasn't all the way there yet, which is cool because he wasn't either. That was mostly their issue. Like, they were trying to figure out each other. Lawrence was being persistent. She was looking at him more like a rebound. And then when she finally started looking at him like, okay, well, maybe we can date or whatever, he's not a bad guy, I like him or whatever, then the whole shit with Issa started happening and her realizing like, yeah, you still in love with your ex or whatever. So I'm thinking, because remember, I want Lawrence and Condola to work this shit out, be a family unit and be together. I want that. So I'm thinking this is leaning towards that or whatever. On the flip side, I'm like, damn, Condola, she kind of shady, huh? She want Issa and Molly and everybody to see her and Lawrence together with the baby and shit, playing house, being a family and whatever. But that was just me being crazy, right? Because I honestly don't think Condola really have an issue with Issa. I don't think like she be thinking about Issa like at all, really. And I never thought she thought about Issa in the beginning. In season 4, we just have to remember, like, in season 4, they were work friends. Like, they were trying to do a project together that turned out to be great. It just Condola ran over Lawrence and he was like, I'm fucking with you. Like, and they kind of started vibing. Issa revealing later on, like, or it coming out, you know, to Condola's knowledge later on that like, oh, that's your ex or whatever. That, you know, fucked up the vibe between her and Lawrence as well. But it was more so like, I don't think Condola was like, well, fuck this bitch, we enemies now. She was just like, it's awkward, so I'm gonna play my distance while me and this nigga try to figure out if we actually gonna work. But business is business, and you're a cool person, so I'm still work with you. Same kind of way Issa was, even though in the back of her head she still wanted to be with Lawrence. But this scene was interesting going into the whole birthday party situation. Kelly is a trip. I definitely caught the vibes. Like, she was trying to be neutral when Lawrence was asking about everybody, quote unquote. She was like, everybody I associate with is doing great, living in abundance, limitless, whatever the fuck she was saying. That shit was funny. But it was also a clear indication, like, I'm going to be and remain a neutral party in this situation, but I want to let you know, if I need to pick a side, I'm going to be riding with my friend. Like, that's what I got from that. Everybody I know is living in abundance. Like, she was letting Lawrence know, like, I don't got no beef with you personally, and whatever you and Issa got, that's what y'all got. But if she need me to ride, I'm going to ride. That's what I got from it. But the whole party as a whole was a clear indication that, like I said, these motherfuckers needed to have a conversation, because arguing about feeding the baby solids after the doctor had already cleared the baby to have solids was a parent thing that could have been handled differently. Like, I understand why Condola turned up. She missed a moment with the baby, and she may have had her own way that she wanted to introduce solace to it, to the baby. But then I also understand Lawrence's like point of view, where it's like, nigga, this is my baby too, and the doctor said this was okay, and it was only just a little piece of carrot or whatever. Like, you doing a lot over this situation. But then I get it, because Again, nigga, you just decided you want to be here. Like, I've been mom for the entire of the pregnancy and up until now. Like, you just decided you want to be a dad. So, like, they needed to have a conversation between the two of them about figuring out how to work up some type of camaraderie between them, some type of trust as co-parents. So shit like this one to even fuck them up like that. Derek's information, like his whole his whole stance on it, like, bro, let me talk to you over here by the boxes, get you together. Like, that was very real and honest, and I respect Derek for that. Like, Derek's a good friend to Lawrence or whatever. Like, nigga, you have to just understand what time it is, where y'all at, and like work from there instead of trying to impose how you want things to be on somebody who was not even expecting you to be around. Like, that was good advice. I did agree with Lawrence. Like, you and Tiffany married, so when y'all have squabbles or whatever, it's different because y'all are actually committed to each other as partners as well. The only thing tying Lawrence and Condola together right now is the baby. Maybe knowing that, at least, well, I feel like they should know that. But even in saying that, to me personally, that would make me want to talk to her all, the more, like, even more. Talk to Condola and be like, okay, look, I'm only here because of the baby. You know that? I know that. Like, what are we going to do about us? Because, yeah, we are here trying to do the parenting thing together, but, like, we still ain't really figure out how we operate as two people, So, like, they got a lot on their plate, and I think they neglecting that because they have a new baby on the way. But see, even that just kind of made me feel like they would be good together if they just kind of focus their attention more so on them and let the baby be, a grounding piece for all of it. That's just me though. Kelly and her cousin, what's his name? Terrell, I believe. Bruh. When Peppa Pig started smoking the vape and she went over there and told this nigga to chill out, he was like, hit the vape with me, cuz. He was like, nigga, I'm already high. That shit had me rolling. If you can go back and watch, and this is why I fucking love Kelly, bruh, and the lady that plays her, wasn't it Natasha Rothwell? This is why I fuck with this lady, right? Because you can tell she improv that fucking line. The cameras just so happened to catch it, and they was like, we are putting that in. Because when she said, when Tyrell said, cuz hit the vape with me, and she said, nigga, I'm already high, everybody that's behind them in that scene bust out laughing, bro. Like, and that shit was funny to me. So if you get a chance, you get a second, go back to this wonderful episode, because the whole episode 5. Go back to this episode. Watch that scene in particular. The people behind her, they bust out laughing when she said that. And that's what I would like to be doing one day. Just laughing at people who are funny as fuck on the set, improv all they fucking lines. One thing I took away from the scene also, Lawrence really think he's doing everything he can. And to his credit, given the circumstances, he is. Like, he's moved to a different area where his work is. He has only, I guess, enough time and energy to fly in and fly out once a week. Like, I get that. But doing everything you can would have been like, sorry, unless I could work from California or from LA, because they're in California, unless I could work from LA so I could move from San Francisco to be in Los Angeles with my child, like, I have to find somewhere else to work. Like, that would have been doing everything you can to me. But I get why he felt like that. And like I said earlier, appreciate my dog Derek for reeling that shit in and kind of letting him know you flying off the rails a little bit. Now, for those of you who are listening and y'all feel like I'm tripping, I might be too much on Condola's side or whatever, this next scene that is musically scored by the song Home by, what's her name? Iyamah. Hope I said that right. I know I spelled it right because I'm looking at it. But this scene that has her song in the background, like, it's pretty much exactly why I feel the way I feel. At least about the situation with Lawrence not actually doing enough. Because this nigga is popping bottles, you know what I'm saying? He fucking bitches, like living his life. He at the club and shit. Condola and Kyra in some of these little scenes in the montage, they at the crib, you know what I'm saying? Like stressed out with baby Ja. He being a baby. You know, Condola, she ain't putting herself together at all. She chilling in mom clothes, falling asleep on the goddamn toilet just to be awoken to the sounds of Lawrence making some girl climax, which in actuality is the baby screaming for Condola. That scene, how they kind of put that together, that was interesting, but it was also like spot on. I got what I got what they was going for. But yeah, like all of that is why I said what I said. This nigga is living a comfortable life, you know what I'm saying, while she is stressing day in and day out with a baby, and all you doing is sending a text message like, hey, I'm flying in tomorrow to, you know, do my arrangement, see my kid. Granted, you know what I'm saying, this is what both of them agreed to. So I don't feel bad for Condola because she's in this situation because of what she's agreeing to and what she's choosing to do with her life. Same thing with Lawrence. Like, this is what you agreed to. This is what you chose to do. Condola chose to have this baby. Lawrence decided, I don't want to be a father. Condola chose to accept that and make, you know, the necessary arrangements to be a mom without this nigga. He made a decision to change his mind and decide he want to be a father as best he could, depending on, you know, the new circumstances with him having a job in San Francisco while baby Ja and Condola are in LA where they supposed to be. So I don't feel bad for neither one of these niggas. Like, yes, things could have been handled differently, but y'all are making decisions as y'all go, just like in life. Like, this is normal life, what we witnessing right now. Like, they making decisions as they go. They changing their mind about things. They're being sure about things and then unsure about things the next moment. Like, this is normal. So I don't feel bad. It's just I could see how things could have been way better. This argument at the end where, you know, Condola tells Lawrence after Lawrence flies in, make sure he gets a rental car and gets the right baby seat and the hotel room right down the street from the house. Like, this entire argument, this fight, it was not only warranted, but it was necessary. Like, they need to figure out what the fuck they're doing and actually talk about it and make solid plans. This, I'm texting you this, you trying to go or not, and once a week I'm gonna fly down if I don't got, you know, a crazy work schedule or just don't want to do it. Like, that shit need to be squashed and fucking figured out. So them coming to the conclusion after the fight that it's not working, that shit was like, yes. I'm glad y'all finally can see what we see, because obviously he was wrong. I could see Chad's information, his advice coming in on this little area where they arguing or whatever, because why would you threaten her talking about I'm gonna get my baby either with or without you? Like, bruh, like, you being a little much. I get it. You charged up, you know, flew all the way down here and made all the necessary arrangements that y'all agreed upon. Again, Condola agreed to this shit. So Lawrence is not all the way in the wrong. But at the same time, you gotta keep your cool in this kind of situation. Like, I get it. You mad. You did all that. She telling you, I changed my mind because I don't trust you because I've been here. You haven't. You just decided you want to pop in. Like, you ain't giving me no time to trust you, whatever, whatever. I get it. And the shit that Lawrence was saying in response to that, I would have been like, man, get the fuck out too. I would have been like, bruh, you ain't finna talk to me crazy about my baby in my house. Like, I ain't telling you you can't see the nigga. I'm just saying, like, I don't feel comfortable right now because of this, that, and the third. We finally talked it out, and I told you what the real issue is and why things are the way they are. Respect that, nigga. You just got here. Like, I've been doing this. Like, how you coming at me like that? But after Lawrence's, near-death experience with the turbulence on his flight back home, he decided to call her and try to rectify the situation. I'm so glad that the first thing that came out of his mouth was "I'm sorry," because he was saying some fucked up shit. Like, he was being incredibly like rude and just, I ain't like the shit that he was saying. Like, you gonna take this to a new mom of your baby? Like, the situation, the circumstances. Like, he let his emotions get the best of him. He took Chad's advice and ran with it in a crazy way. But I'm glad he came to the realization that, you know what, I need to apologize. And he led with that. Because niggas, a lot of niggas these days, and I'm speaking as a nigga, not one that does this, because I'm more, if I find out I'm fucking up, or if I feel like I'm fucking up, or if it is been made clear to me like I'm in the wrong, I don't have no problem apologizing. Some of these other niggas though, they would drag this shit out because they don't want the woman to be right or whatever. Just ego all in the mix, making you drag out a situation, putting her more in the right when you could just, apologize and y'all be wherever y'all at in terms of right or wrong, and then y'all repair it. I'm glad he started with a "I'm sorry," and I'm glad that the episode ended with them agreeing to like really try to figure out what's gonna work for this entire situation. But yeah, man, that's the episode in the gist. Damn, I kind of talked. I talked a little bit for this one, but that's cool because this episode was really good. I really enjoyed it. What do y'all think? Like, I really want to know. Like, y'all talk to me about this shit. Like, what's going on? What's in your head? You on Condola's side? You on Lauren's side? Because that conversation was like really telling, bro. Like, Condola really like laid it out. Like, nigga, you pop in whenever you want to or whatever. I'm here every day. Lawrence made some wild comments. You blew my life up. You know what I'm saying? You making decisions without me, and now you using that to keep this boy away from me. And honestly, bro, I don't think that's what Condola is doing. Like I said earlier, when you told her, yeah, I ain't gonna be in the child life, just keep me posted X, Y, and Z. You took your ass to San Francisco for the new job. Yes, you had the job already lined up before Condola told you, but you know what I'm saying, you still went after she told you, like, this is what it is. Like, it's not rocket science to figure out, like, oh man, I got a new job, whatever, but you also have a baby on the way. So if you want to be in a baby's life, figure out a different job situation, or you go and do what you said. Like, I'm not gonna be here in the baby's life, just keep me posted. Like, y'all made y'all decisions. This is why I'm saying, like, I'm in the middle and I don't feel bad for either one of them. Condola made a decision to have the baby. She wanted it. She kept it. Baby's here. Fine. You told this nigga, he said, I don't want no baby. You still had the baby. Fine. You also told him, you don't have to be in the child's life if you don't want to. He replied, I'm not finna be, because I don't want to be a father, and I got my dream job waiting on me in San Francisco. Fine. He acted on that. He went on with that. Coming back now and trying to readjust everything, like, it's fucked up. I'm leaning more to Condola because I completely understand, like, you haven't been here. You made your decision. Now you trying to be here, and then you being half here. So it's like, why you acting like I'm the bad guy? But then I get Lawrence's side as well. You're agreeing to everything I'm proposing to you. If it was a problem, why you didn't say nothing earlier when this shit first started kicking off, instead of, oh, well, I'm going to just see how I go in X, Y, and Z. Granted, I appreciate Condola for doing that. Like, well, let's see if, he going to stick to what he said he was going to do or whatever. But when you started to realize, like, it takes a lot more than just being here one day a week to raise a baby. Like, you should have had a conversation with this man so he can adjust his expectations and really understand the sacrifice that he needs to make in order to be in the child's life. You was just going along with everything. And that caused that fight. Lawrence was wild for the shit he was saying. So like I said, I'm glad he apologized. But y'all, saying, holla at me on the Twitter, BRIAN SAPPH, Brian Saff. Let me know what y'all think. I'm assuming we're gonna see more of this story in episode 4. At least that's what I'm hoping. Like, if we go back to Molly and Issa, that's cool. That's fine. But I want to see what the resolve is after Lawrence pretty much said, like, okay, so what do we do? And Condola's on the other end looking like she want to figure it out. So I want to see what they come up with. Will it lead to them being back together? That's kind of my prediction and my hope as well. I think Lawrence is going to get it in his head like, I'm good at what I do. I could find a job in LA, no problem, so I could be there with my son. Because I was thinking about it. They had this whole like falling out, this whole issue or whatever, because this nigga wanted to take the baby down the street and, play dad. Like, why you just ain't stay with Condola? Once, before that whole argument started, instead of getting in your feelings because she was switching up on you or whatever, I would have just said, look, man, you being, you changing your mind, that's fucked up, whatever. Let's try to work something out instead of canceling everything, because I'm here. So do you mind if I crash with you so I could be here with the baby, be here with you and the baby, and you can like feel me out and try to become more trustworthy? Like, that would have been my response to that whole situation. Instead of getting angry and arguing about the shit, I would have just tried to find a workaround so that I could see my kid and be, utilize the time that I already put in to be here. But, in the heat of the moment, things don't always click off like that. Common sense ain't always common, because Condola ain't got no raggedy ass house. Like, he could have hit the couch, or took a spare bedroom. I don't know. But I don't know what the fuck the plan was. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a hotel down the street and a rental car with a brand new ass baby seat, and I don't know, spend the night at the hotel with the baby by myself. I don't know what the plan was. Even if it was like, oh, I'm just trying to give you some space away from the baby, like, go in your room and watch TV, and I'll stay in the living room with the baby and do the dad thing and sleep on the couch with it. Like, there was a workaround there, in my opinion. But like I said, argument needed to happen. So y'all tell me what y'all think about it and what side y'all on. I need some new perspective to the conversation. So y'all, if y'all decide to add me on the Twitter or whatever, like, come with something that's gonna make me think. Cause I don't mind talking to y'all about it. This is dope. I like the conversation that this has started, this episode, best one yet. But I feel like I'm talking y'all ear off. So that's it. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, and leave y'all with one of the songs that was playing at the end of the episode. Do your Shazams to figure out which one it is. I ain't going to tell y'all. Peace. And whatever we're trying